Hi guys, this is Holistic Health Harry, How Can I Realize Talk Show. Today, on the other side, we are joined across the pond by Brother Sage. Hello, Brother Sage, how are you?
Hello, Harry. I am awestruck to be in your presence again. It's been a while, and glad to be able to share life with all the viewers.
Yeah, indeed. You are a very prominent figure, I have to say, in the urine therapy community. And it's not just urine therapy that you talk, although you have written a book, like myself, on urine therapy. Actually, Brother Sage, I'd like to share with you, somebody yesterday was doing something with me, and they said that they'd just got into urine therapy, they'd read your book, then read my book, and now they're seriously into it. So I feel our books are very powerful. So I appreciate what you're doing in all the things, and we'll touch bases with a lot today. But I'll start, because I think we've been through your story a little bit. If you want to, we can go over that again. But let's start about, if you want, with the times and what is the meaning behind what's going on now, Brother Sage, in your interpretation, and what can we do in this time? What should we do? What can one do in these worrying, for some people, times?
The first and foremost thing you can do is take a deep breath and get present with Harry and Brother Sage right now, you guys. If we're gonna blast it out, we're gonna do it in present time. So if we look at the big picture, because if we look at the small picture, then people are going to be polarized to the max because of what they watch on television and any screen, thinking what they see is reality. So that's part of the discernment factor. People have to learn to listen to their heart and their soul, the gut feelings and urges, that maybe what they're seeing ain't real. But on the broader picture, we're in a time of the great storm of purification that was been prophesied a whole long ago by the Japanese, the Oriental communities, saying there will be a time of the great purification. Well, the great purification has been building momentum since the age of Aquarius in the 60s. And thank goodness we had psychotropics and ways to blast through consciousness. Because we're in a holding pattern. And as you know, my friend, anybody who's watching this, if your energy is not moving and your creativity is not moving and you are stuck and your chakras are not spinning, it's going to be very hard to get through. So this is the time to go within, even though they have the pretend lockdown thing going on. It's a time for you to reassess who you are. How do you fit into the scheme of things? And how are you able to walk with an open mind and a vibrating heart and not be affected by what you think you see?
Yeah, that's powerful. So yeah, you said pretend lockdown. I like the way you said that. I kind of agree with you. This is part of a mass control system. Do you feel, Brother Sage, this is for me as well, do you feel that, is it about the masses waking up slowly, or is it more about, or can I compare? Should I compare? Is it more about us really raising our vibration? Is it going to be that they're going to shift towards slowly waking up, or is it as we as well going to go higher? Is it about us? Is it about them? Should we focus on them? Should we just focus on our own stuff? What we're doing within our communities? What should we do?
Well, let's keep it simple, sweetheart. What you heal in yourself, you heal in everybody. What you transform in your consciousness and what you evolve to, you evolve and change the consciousness of everybody. If everybody pops open, breaks free of their self-imposed limitations and restrictions, then we'll have the 100 monkey and the domino effect accelerate.
Yes, I agree.
And you see, the reason you and I are doing this work has no inkling of selfishness. There's a whole world that needs to be touched in however we can touch them. So for you and I to get together and reach a broader audience is going to be able to spread a message a lot faster than one-on-one in your local community.
Yeah, definitely resonate with that. And I think we're doing a grand job. But if we do say so ourselves, all of us has got an important role to play, but particularly because you've written a book, you're so invested in the health communities and proactive on Facebook and social media, which I love about yourself, and very supportive too. I love people that are supportive. So yeah, it's brilliant.
Well, what you and I are teaching people, and my feeling about you is that you're rich in spirit and you're rich in love and you're a humble man and you don't need to point things to you and you're living your life large. But we're teaching people, and this is what I've noticed, that the people who get inspired by what you post on Facebook can also change the world. For the people who thought, what a difference can I make? Well, look what we're doing. We're just one person. It's amazing.
Truly. Yeah, with one person you can change the world. I love it. So what kind of
Mhm.
therapies, Brother Sage? I mean, people might be aware that you're into urine therapy, but I don't think that's just what you are. I think that's too simple, just like myself. There's a lot of things going on. What is all in what would you define as health? I mean, I know you're so deep onto emotion, spiritual, actually. I think that's one of your masteries. You've got so many. I love that. So do you want to talk a little bit about emotion, spirituality, and how that ties in with physical, how ties in with health generally?
Good question, Harry. I've been holistic health. What we used to call ourselves holistic health practitioners, and then it became popularized to be called a wellness practitioner. I like them both. So I've been at this since the 70s. In 1979, I started my wellness practice. And I was trained by masters who became mentors, like Stanley Burroughs, who started the Master Cleanse and the VitaFlex technology of advanced reflexology. I studied with Leonard Orr, where I learned breath mastery, physical immortality, thought is creative. I studied with Sandra Ray about loving relationships. I studied with Louise Hay, just on and on and on it goes. So my practice is a eclectic blend of all those teachers and all that electricity or whatever it is that was woven into me, that now I know this stuff. And to me, I was a urine therapist, and this is one of the reasons I'm writing the manual of urine therapy teachers and therapists, which you will contribute at some point, to let people know that when someone comes to you and says, is urine therapy good for this and that? And they'll name a disease, diabetes, tumors, inflammation, heart rhythm, whatever it is. I say yes, and I say no. Because if you've got to get health back together, you have to achieve the balance of mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. The reason you have happy spiritual people, but they're miserable emotional, or they're sick in spirit, I mean, all those have to come to balance. So when someone says, yeah, just drink the urine, I'll see you, or I won't see you, ain't going to cut it, because if they're still eating crap and they still have suppressed negative emotions, that has to be cleared out as well.
That's powerful. Do you not think the urine does a little bit, but it doesn't do fully? You're saying there's so much it can do, but it doesn't go, it can't go the full hog for you because it's not all encompassing. It's magical, in my opinion, but I agree with you to a point that there's a limit to how much, if you're not, if this is not working properly and you're not seeing the world right, and not realizing maybe perhaps that we are godly inside and you are powerful and you can achieve anything. And if you're in a negative mind state, I think the urine can only take you so far. It'll take you far, but it won't take you to the top, right?
Yeah, well, there's even a deeper issue under all of that, which I'll get to in a little bit. But you see, if we're pulling away from source and thinking that we're in control, of everything and what we can achieve and how things are going to play out, there's no way you can possibly fathom infinity in our little judgments, discernment brain and go, oh yeah, I totally get how things work. No. So the people who are just focusing on the drinking of the urine, but they're not having a spiritual life, there's a void that has to be filled up.
Yeah, that's powerful. How does one find how does one define a spiritual life, and how does one find one once they are aware that it's important? How does one that say doesn't have it, or what is the definition to you of spiritual?
Oh, hold on, I need to drink some elixir. I'm from Texas. We do everything big. This is 2 quarts.
No, is it aged slightly? Or fresh?
I would say this is close to 72 hours.
Okay. Ooh, 3 days old. Nice.
But the real kick-ass stuff is 3 years old. So we. And what's so exciting is that you can take aged urine and just put a drop under your tongue and get your second and third wind of energy throughout the day without having to go for food.
That's amazing. Just from a drop, you're saying, under the tongue, sublingually.
I do a whole dropper full, but there are some people that are only microdosing. So whatever works for you.
Yeah, that's powerful. Definitely. I read your first book and I loved it a lot. There was a lot of good stuff in there. And particularly one of them that really caught my eye is the idea of spraying your food. I don't know if you remember doing that. Spraying food with urine, aged urine. That's something I've been thinking of doing. Not recently. I've done it in the last month or so, and I need to get back to it. It's very powerful to get it in anyway. So the way you did it and the way I did it in my book too, we resonate with each other in terms of just get it in you. I think there's many ways to get Shivambhu with a fresh or aged into you. It's not just one way, not just drinking. There's many.
Well, what's exciting, and I've got my finger on the pulse of this movement, and this movement is not going away anytime soon, guys. If there was ever anything you'd want to put your attention on other than the damn conspiracy YouTube videos, is the urine therapy movement. The reason I'm so excited about it, not only is it transforming myself, everybody around me, people left and right are coming up to me, people I don't know, they go, oh man, you wrote a book on urine therapy. I just started about 2 weeks ago. I'm so glad you're here. I wanted to tell somebody. And
Nice.
people are coming out of the
Mm,
closet left and right because of who I
mm,
am. And you may be experiencing the same thing.
mm.
So you get validation everywhere you go.
And it's good to be reminded this, Brother Sage, because I will share with you that some people within our communities, and I'm not judging people, are into aged urine, but they just feel like it's below, not beneath them. They're just, I get it. Like you advance to learn other things, but they kind of lose the passion. And I feel that's wrong because this is a base foundation passion that we should all have. We just because we've advanced past it, it doesn't mean it shouldn't ever. And people are still using it. I just noticed that they lost the passion. And for me, no, I can't because there's always more people. Like myself, I'm on my Amazon reviews on books. People saying, hey, I don't even know on Facebook, they're saying, hey, thank you for writing your book, probably with you as well. Like, thank you for writing your book. It's changed my life. And it makes you realize it's not even about, it's big. It's always going to be a big thing. Doesn't matter if we advance to other healing modalities. It's always going to be powerful this year in therapy. It won't change.
Right. And what you just mentioned is the reason that some people drop off of anything that's that powerful, because they've got unconscious beliefs about urine. And some people, they're going, I'm not going to drink aged urine, I'll drink fresh urine. I said, there's no difference than the potency. It's just a mindset. And so whatever people's resistance comes up is going to come up until they break free of it, or that's where they're at.
Yeah. How do you tackle people resistance? Do you just let them journey themselves at their own time? Do you go for a method, or do you just, is there a way you deal with the people that just really are averse to it and make it known to you they want to do it, but they're averse?
Are you talking about fresh or aged?
Both.
Now, this is a reason that I'm taking the cameraman down to the streets as soon as they lift the lockdown, is we're going to go host a table on golden blood plasma water.
Cool.
And yeah, we're not going to call it urine out front, but we're going to interact with people. And what I got really good is just confronting people's belief systems, because if people say, well, oh, that's a waste product, that's a disgusting waste product, the first thing out of your mouth should be like, where did you get that idea from? Because these people got no strong argument to stand on, and you can blow them out of the water if you just let them know what, ultra-filtered blood plasma water is. And you can just load them with a whole lot of research until they either back down or go, wait, tell me more, I'm desperate.
Yeah, that's really good. So you've got loads of experience talking to people. I think that's powerful. That are against. That's something that I need to build more of, because I don't have many people on my Facebook that come against it. So yeah, it's very powerful to go out there and get that reference experience and say, hey, because it shores up your arguments, and it helps you learn the million things that you know in your brain, but sometimes you forget about why, how, and why is it so amazing therapy.
Right, and it's probably a lot easier to convince people than try to convince the believers in the virus and go like, where'd you get that idea from, that the virus is real? Well, I saw it on television. You believe all that shit? Never mind, go ahead.
Yeah, that's crazy. About the virus too. So what draws you to the conclusion, I'm agree with you, by the way, but what draws you to the conclusion that this is unreal? Do you think it's part of an agenda by the elites, a part of trying to slow down the inevitable age of Aquarius, I think you mentioned earlier? You mentioned that.
Well, if I look at the big picture, it's the only way I'm going to make sense of it. Otherwise, my brain will melt down. I mean, the big picture is the war between the light and the dark. You see, as of about 6 months ago, I don't know if you noticed how happy everyone was. And people were stepping up, and I was spending a lot of time with 20-year-olds that were lit up. They had enlightened, they were woke up, and I was finding all age groups that were on the same page with me. And it was just real refreshing that I didn't have to teach as many people. And it could be that's what's going on the planet. People are being purged. But it's not a time to panic and freeze. It's not a time to withdraw. See, this is not the time to put your dreams on hold and stop your passion. This is the time to find your power again.
Yeah, I agree. Finding your power is so key. How does one meditate? One could do lots of things, right? Urine therapy. Do you encourage meditation, all these kind of self-reflection things too, and what we're doing in life, and finding a higher purpose?
Well, mostly, definitely. Now, my favorite interpretation or definition of meditation comes from a teacher named Matt Kahn. I don't know if you caught wind of him. He's like right up there for me with Muji and Satguru and a whole bunch of cool styles. And he says, meditation is a vacation from concern. It's another way of saying, like the Buddhists would say, calm the mind, go into silence, be in stillness. And there you can get answers. So since people are being run by fear, they're being run by misperception, they're being run by programming. And the virus to me is just another program. If you're familiar with the Matrix movie, high five everybody, right? Morpheus kept getting across to Neo. This is a program when he's walking through the streets and all of a sudden here comes the blonde with the red dress.
Yeah.
He said, were you talking to me or are you looking at the blonde with the red dress? And he freezes it and all of a sudden there's an agent pointing a gun at him.
Yeah.
He's trying to tell everybody it's a programming. Just like, do you remember back in the 50s and 60s, television was called programming, and we would look and see what's on the program tonight? It's kind of like a hint. They've been programming since television got stolen.
Yeah, it's why they're called TV programs. That makes sense. It's programming the mind into a reality that's not very beneficial towards the raising vibrations of humanity, I feel. Very limited. And that's why where people encounter the resistance, like you said, where people going, oh, urine's a waste product, and you challenge them, like you said, and then they wonder where they got it from, and it just comes from programming at some point. Programming from television, programming from... I've always wondered with urine therapy where it came from, but thinking about this a lot, like, as a baby, where did I learn it from? Because I knew it from... Oh, no, I heard my neighbours a few days ago, 3-year-old, 4-year-old, barely knows how to talk, but I heard them go, oh, urine, that's disgusting, like in the garden. I was like, wow, where's that come from? Who's taught this really young child at such an early age that urine's disgusting? Because it came out of the mouth, and I was really surprised. Shouldn't be surprised, because that's probably what I would have done, but I'm just wondering who actually said that to them. Where did that come from? It's in there somewhere, programming. Yeah.
Well, I get a feeling since a lot of the insights and the understandings we have as a human race comes from a direct knowing or transmission from the universe, whatever you want to call it. I have a feeling that when it all started, like a lot of things we discover, we're watching monkeys pee in their mouth, we're watching animals pee in their mouth, and it dawned on them, wait a minute, I remember peeing in my mom's belly and drinking it for 9 months. I mean, if people who trip out on drugs, they go, God, I can even remember my mom thinking that she loved me, or I was an unwanted child because I was supposed to be a girl. However it is, they figured it out.
That's so true, Brother Sage. Do you think that there's a lot of trauma that comes into the world from being born straight off the bat? That we're traumatized from birth and we have to undo it? Or do you feel like children are pure and then it kind of goes wrong? Or do you think it's a bit of both, what I just said there?
You're familiar with breathing. You're familiar with the rebirthing technology and philosophy. Well, I studied that with Leonard Orr and Sandra Ray, and we were learning from Frederick Laboyer's book. He's a man from France. He wrote about birth without violence, about bringing children in the world. And they found through all this breath movement that not only can people remember their birth, they can remember preconception, they can remember being taken away unwillingly from your parents, from your mom, the umbilical cord cut, being wrapped in a rough blanket, being things put in their eyes, being put into a room with strange babies crying, where's mommy? Well, all that stuff creates the beginning of our core belief systems. And so if you do some breath work, or if you work with me, anybody's watching this, you can track your relationship problems and your money problems and your health problems back to when you were hurt by a man, which was the obstetrician, and you decided that men cannot be trusted and men will hurt me. Or that I hurt women because my mom cried when I left her. And there's a separation issue that goes on. There's a whole lot of psychology that we're fucked up on because of birth.
Yeah, that's powerful what you said there. And also, like I've heard of Stanislav Grof's LSD therapy, where people take LSD and go back to that time and they start remembering what you just said, preconception, all that stuff. It's almost like it's a very powerful, there's many healing modalities, rebirthing too, breathwork, holotropics, I think Graf talks about too. So, yeah.
Yeah, and he actually was a student of Leonard Orr's. Now, Leonard Orr, who just left his body at age 93, just a while ago, out of his work, now he had it blessed by Babaji. He goes to India because Babaji shows up to him. I have to honor my teachers. Leonard was teaching rebirthing in Houston, and Babaji popped into the room, floating in the room in a baby body. Well, that got his attention. He got his ass to India really fast, got his head shaven by his guru, discovered that Babaji is really Shiva, the Lord of the universe. And since that time, everybody was getting it. The breath was so powerful that Holotropic Breathwork branded it. sacred renewal breathwork got its brand, and everybody branded breathwork. It's the same with Reiki and all the energy healing techniques. It's all transmission of divine light, but everybody branded their energy work.
Yeah, that's fascinating, isn't it? And I know you're huge on immortality. What does that mean? And do you think that humans can live forever? And how can one achieve? How can one go about this this idea of immortality or even becoming immortal?
Okay, everybody take a deep breath. We're going to go into a core area of our being right now, because physical immortality is not only doable, not only achievable. You're already physically immortal. We just have to shift our perception to what is possible. It's the same with you're already healthy. We're already home and we're safe, but we keep imagining we're not. So physical mortality is basically clearing all unconscious thoughts about death, death urges, self-destructive tendencies, hatred of yourself. All that stuff has got to be cleared out of the unconscious, so you have a free mind, and all your thoughts are life-affirming. They're positive. You're attracting more life-enriching relationships and situations. So it's a 365-degree shift about, see, the world still believes that death is inevitable. Well, what if you did not have that in your operating instructions? Since you realize that you have infinite potential, you can play out any possible reality. Why not a reality in which you don't have to destroy yourself?
I like that a lot. But how does one do that if the whole world is telling you're seeing around you everyone dying? I guess that's where it comes from, right? You're seeing everyone around you die, and yeah, it's that unconscious. How does one tackle that root core belief that you have to die? I mean, it's easy to say that, right? But how does one go about, like, because all I'm seeing around me is people dying. I mean, how do I change that? How would one change the program?
Take a breath. First thing you want to do is start reading. Let me pull out some validation for you. Start reading books on the subject.
Physical immortality.
This is by Leonard Orr.
Okay.
The Science of Everlasting Life. They're still publishing it. See, what Leonard did was he'd been unraveling his death urges and his unconscious death stuff since the 60s. And when it dawned on him there was immortals on the planet, he set a standard that basically for him was a measurement that they were immortal, and it had to be 300 years old. So he ends up going on this world trek and finds 8 of them that were 2,000, 5,000, 9,000 years old in the same body. Babaji, Saint Germain, Enoch, Bartaji. There's all these beings they're walking around, and some people think like Saint Germain, well, they're in another realm, they're in another octave, they're in another dimension. No. Everything exists right here, whether you move your mind to understanding or accept, like urine therapy. That's such a shift for people. For them to get it is amazingly liberating, and it breaks them free of all kinds of stuff.
Absolutely.
So if you look how immortality and death is playing out on the planet with the virus right now, you'll see that everybody's death stuff is coming up to be purged and cleaned right now. When 9/11 hit, when Kennedy was killed, boy, the death stuff was coming up. People were feeling vulnerable. People were feeling on defense. They were creating bomb shelters. It's clearing the unconscious death urges out as fast as we can take it, as fast as we can get clear, but not everybody wants to do that. So they may have to drop the body and come back.
Very interesting. You just mentioned 2 big events there, 9/11 and 63 Kennedy. And also what happened after that was a lot of people woke up after that. It was what woke people up. So I feel like, I'm sure you agree, that this thing is also going to wake a lot of people that really might surprise them. They're going to get woken up from this. Yeah,
I get more emails from people who go, did you hear so-and-so's video about what the 5G is really all about, about the vaccines are really all about? I said, that's already old news. I'm happy for you. Let's keep going.
We've been doing this for ages. We're old timers, yeah.
Well, in 1991, my wife and I were campaigning for Bo Greitz. I don't know if you've heard about him, but he was an independent guy running for president. He was a special forces guy. So he knew what happened in the Golden Triangle around the Vietnam era. He was in Laos, Cambodia, and Golden Triangle. He knew all the drug lords. He knew how they were connected to the U.S. government. And he was running for president. He was going to blow the whistle on all the thieves and all the taskmasters on the planet. Well, they wouldn't even give him time on the television, and we thought that was brilliant. But by connecting with him, we got into the conspiracy holes. It took us down to the rabbit hole as deep as you can go. We got the big picture of what's happening on the planet, And my wife and I going, we've got to leave this conspiracy world, because we were getting paranoid and everybody around us was flipping out and going, not enjoying it, not having fun. So now I take it as an education, but I don't give it any serious thought to it.
Yeah, I feel the same way with you. I think we all have to go through that stage of going too far down the rabbit hole of conspiracy, which affects our core psychology in a negative light. And then we start looking everything around negatively. And that stops the truth of actually us being godly creatures that are immortal, that should be divine light and should be not worrying about stuff like conspiracies. So yeah, I think everyone has to go through their own phase with that. And some people who are watching this are no doubt in that phase and getting lost down there right as we speak. That's okay. You'll get out of it.
Right. And I want to point out, it's the same with the raw food gurus and all the health gurus, doctor this and doctor that. And in the conspiracy theory realm, you're watching people like David Icke and London Real, Brian Rose, and all those characters, David Wilcock. Guys, they're teachers. They're teaching. They're humans. If it does not light you up and bring you joy, leave. Walk away from these people. Don't make them your guru, because then it'll become your way of life and you'll be filtering everything through that.
Agree. And I also find what you said as well is that there's an ego behind it sometimes with some people. So there's like an ego in terms of, I know something you don't know, which distances yourself off with people and makes you feel superior because you have this knowledge about what's going on with the conspiracies, which is why I feel there's so many different theories out there. And I'm open-minded to everything, what will happen, but I try and say, hey, what will happen happens. But then people will try and go, no, it's going to be this, and it's going to be this, Harry, it's going to be this. And that puts me off when people are so like that.
So I just assume to look them straight in the eye and say, so what did you do to have fun today? Were you barefoot? Now, I love my house, by the way. I don't know, you knew I moved from my apartment because my apartment mate of 5 years and my office mate were paranoid, fear-demic enthusiasts. And they told me I couldn't bring my clients, my friends, or my lovers to my house or to my office. I said, oh, okay, I'm moving out.
Nice.
So I moved in with my friends and all kinds of opportunities opened up. I now live in a retreat center in the country with an acre of land. We have sweat lodges, drum circles, fire ceremonies, movie nights, all kinds of cool stuff. And my brain came back. My heart opened up again.
So is that in Boulder? Is that near Boulder? So you're not in Boulder anymore?
I'm in Boulder County.
Boulder County, okay, not in the Boulder itself. Okay, cool.
Right. And I'm not affected by all the wireless buildings and all the cell towers. I'm living in a house that was built in the 1970s. It's still an analog house. It's been quite, except for my iPad and cell phone, this is all analog.
Wow, that's awesome. So you're in a community, like you said, like of doing so many things with people that are vibrating and wanting to learn more and not getting too much into conspiracies. And yeah, that's powerful, that, very powerful.
Yeah, so once they lift a bit, now we've been only having groups of 6 at a time. So that we just keep it close to the close circle of friends. That seems to be working out. But I need social contact. I don't know if you caught the social movement I started 4 or 5 days ago. I stood out in a very popular street called Pearl Street, which is at Broadway and Spruce in downtown Boulder. Usually you'll have hundreds of thousands of people walking up and down there on any given day. But I stood out there, you know, all the businesses are closed, but cars are driving in the intersections. I stood up there and created a social movement, and I challenged people. Jody Louise, I don't know if you heard of her.
No.
She's out in UK. She said she's going to start it. I held a sign up that says free air hugs.
Free air hugs. Okay.
And I was filming how many people would throw a hug at me. Girls were throwing kisses at me. And I was having the time. I was out there with my stuffed monkey, baby Hanuman. And I realized, my God, if people will start treating each other as a humanity, which I noticed people are framing and laughing and loving, even through the mask, they still want humanity to make it.
Yeah, that's powerful, bro. I've got to say, that's some real like love and compassion for all, non-acceptance. I feel like non-judgment is a key part of this. Like, I know some people are different, and they're non-woke, if you want to define it as that. But is it about non-judgment towards everybody? Because humanity is us, and we are all human. You know?
It is, and now is the time when you need to pull up your empathy, your compassion, and your love for people, because these taskmasters have figured a way to divide people into the believers of the hoax and the non-believers of the hoax, the wet mask wearers and the non-mask wearers. When you're walking around in a place where everyone's wearing a mask, I pick up these subtle judgments, or people are actually secretly feel like, I wish I was that guy. I don't want to be a mask guy.
Yeah.
But they're still human beings that matter. And you have to find a way that you can still connect with people, even if it's just sparkly eyes and you just nod at them.
Yeah, that's so true. And thanks for doing that. And thanks for being so proactive, as well as all the social media stuff you do. I really appreciate it. Let's talk a little bit about diet. So you said something about fruits earlier. I mean, I know you're a big fan of fruits. Why do you think they're so powerful? Why these foods, these sugary foods?
Well, these foods, no, well, let's just put food aside for a second.
Mm-hmm.
If we get out of the food slavery and the food dogma and the food addiction and the food obsessions about you got to meet your minimum or daily nutritional whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and you realize food is just a job for your body to process versus your energy, vitality, and your strength to show up, it's a whole different perception of what's possible here. When I transitioned from raw foods of 40 years to fruitarianism, it wasn't really a big jump for me, but it was the psychological jump that has to happen for people. So I realized that there are people who've been watching your videos and watching mine and watching all kinds of people's videos and going, I'd really want to try living off fruit or fasting for 7 days or whatever it is. Wow, what an opportunity. You've got nothing to get in the way. And it dawned on me, if they decide to mess with, now 15 years ago, they were coming after nutritional products. I was big in nutritional products. And the Health Freedom Act was under attack and people thought they're going to take our supplements away. I'm going, well, what's the blessing in this? Well, we're going to have to learn how to identify herbs and wild plants. Well, if they take away our fake food, we'll have to get back to real food and live food. Well, we're moving in that direction whether you think about it or not. So why not just pay attention and eat some fruit?
That's such a powerful point. Like, so then we're on a transition now. If they're going to take away our fake food, the supplements and all these things that we can use, there's free foods, there's free wild plants. Even in the UK, there's loads of stinging nettles and hawthorn and sorrel. And where you are, it doesn't matter what location. The tropics obviously has so much fruit. I mean, even here, there's apples and apples in the you can eat pretty much year round.
If you're paying attention, I grew up in Texas. We knew who had figs growing over their back fence over the alley. We knew who had pomegranates. We knew who had extra watermelons. I lived in Hawaii. There was mangoes everywhere. People had avocados, papayas, and all kinds of fruit that they rather the neighbors take for free than let them drop to the ground and rot or let them be bird food. There's abundance in nature if you're paying attention. There's strawberries growing out in the field. You just have to, learn how to find them.
Yeah, I love that. Nature is abundant, and just like your urine is a constant flow of abundance with your urine, there's a constant flow of nature's food that we can activate, which is also why if it does go shit to the fan in terms of people freaking out because there's no food, then me and you are well aware, and I'm sure much people watching this, that it's fine if there's no food because we have our own food. We can go and hunt, even pick up the herbs and also drink the urine, and we can even fast for urine. By the way, Brother Sage, do you think urine fast? Have you ever done urine fasting? It's a personal question. And
Yes.
do you think how long do you think it's possible to do that?
Well,
just that.
Let's see. What's the human potential on this one? We have had people like allegedly Dave, do a 30-day urine fast. And there may be people do longer fasts. One of my teachers who got me into essential oils, Dr. Gary Young, reportedly did a 265-day fast, which healed his paralyzed legs. He got out of a wheelchair.
What with? So, what was it with that fast? It's a very long time.
The Master Cleanser.
Master Cleanser, okay.
Lemon water, cayenne, and maple syrup. And there are people like, God help me with his name. He moved the islands. John Stern, the Mangotarian. He went to heal himself and lived off mangoes for 6 months. There's no limit to what we can do other than what we think is a limit. So if 30 days does it for people, they'll stop. If they need more time, they really have a disease that seems incurable, they'll just keep going until they get an intuition says, I'm done.
Have you heard of Chris Manley? He's Chris Tabacio's former name was. He did like 6 months with urine and a couple of nuts a week, and that was just urine mainly, literally just urine for 6 months a few years ago. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, who's to say? You heard about the guy who just spent time with Ella Tom out in India, who's been living off air for 70-something years?
Haven't heard of that, no. Okay, Ella Team.
I can't remember his name. It's a long Indian name, but the powers to be, or the government out there in India, wanted to prove that he was a hoax. So they put him into a hospital and they wired him up and they tested this and that. And he proved to be the real deal. And it was way beyond their grasp. They couldn't understand it. And some people were theorizing that he was actually reabsorbing his urine and he was living off his pee. But in either case, he met up with Elotom, who's been a breatharian for 19 years. And what a delight to see those two get together.
Wow, do you know they got together? I know that who you're talking about now. I've seen the video of him, with the urine. Apparently he's re-ingesting the urine from dry fasting, which is breatharianism. Yeah, okay, so I've got to watch that. It's on the other team's channel, by the way. So where can I see this?
Yeah, I'm feeling it's on Elotom's channel. Yeah, you can look it up, or I can help you find it. But this is, when you understand physical mortality, it makes sense that people can do whatever they want. Ultimately, I mean, the breatharians are demonstrating, whether it's proving anything tonight, everyone has to prove it to themselves, that they're living off air, they're living off prana. So what's the difference between a 30-day fast and a 2-year fast?
Right, I love it. And how long do you think, this is a personal question, how long are you going for, Brother Sage? How long are you going for in terms of age, in terms of physical numbers on here?
In terms of age? I'm going to, every 300 years, I'm going to reevaluate.
I love that. I love that answer. Okay. So it's not just a steady, it could be, you're changing all the time, evolving with the times.
Yeah. I mean, and I challenge people to say, well, how could you be immortal? I said, well, let's check in every 100 years and see who's still alive. However, I have more than enough projects to last 200 years. I mean, just the Shivambhu organizations, the Shivambhu movement, I got 4 or 5 books that are circling me that are on standby because I'm writing the manual right now. And then I have clients coming out of me left and right, from England to Africa to whatever, and I have to micromanage my time, and I always create time for spirit. So whatever I'm doing, I'm going to breathe and go, okay, let's get our priorities, and then we can still do this, because I'm not willing to rush and get all stressed out and go into urgency. That's not fun anymore.
Well, yeah, I like that. So then because you're going to live such a long time, that it's going to be a no rush system. Whereas someone that's in duality will be like, okay, I've got to get shit done, which is helpful, I guess, to help get a lot of things done. But it's kind of the limit of, you're going to die, so I've got to rush and do everything quickly and get my message out there. And you're like, nah, chill. Got plenty of time here, but still doing stuff too.
And this is the beauty about meditation, brother, because when you get really good at being calm, centered, balanced, I'm going to throw in sane, then you're able to stand in the presence of people that are having a meltdown in your presence. And at some point, you have to have the calm steadiness of a 911 operator or a first responder, because everyone who keeps coming up to you because you're increasing your light and your vibration, you come to realize that what a joy, what a blessing it is to be able to stay still. I mean, that's a way to serve people. That's a form of compassion and empathy. But you also have to learn when to cut them off, so they're not just dumping on you and repeating the story over and over again.
Yeah, having those boundaries so people don't take advantage. And yeah, agreed.
Because I get that when people are contacting me on Facebook, they're going, oh, well, this is going on, and I have this disease in my health, and I'm about to go into a conversation which leads into a mentorship or leads into a coaching session. I say, listen, this is how I play. First initial conversation is free. If you want to go further, we're going to discuss a fee. Let them know I'm serious, and they need to be.
Oh, I find that because I can speak from my experience with being free. I found for the longest time it's good, but I got to a point where, it's not that people don't respect you, but you need to have that standard of, hey, it's a value exchange going on here. And sometimes when it's always free, the value isn't appreciated, and that's natural. So when people pay, they invest that time into you. That also makes them feel like more valuable too, because they're investing their value, giving value to you, you're giving value to them. So it is important actually in our communities, I find, to pay for services and to not expect from a person all the time to be free, because it's not the way to do it.
Right. And our natural state is abundance and prosperity. So we play small when we play it that way. So well done.
Very true. Okay, this has been a brilliant talk, but I'd like to ask you before we go, is there anything that we haven't covered that touch bases with that you would like and think could help people? Anything at all?
Yeah, how come you guys aren't laughing?
Yeah, why isn't everyone laughing right now?
I think now would be a good time to watch all those comedy shows that really tickled you years ago. Get a funny book. just something that's going to help you enjoy being you at a time when people are like caught up into what everyone else is doing. Well, I mentioned the other day, I can't go into certain stores. Whole Foods is one of them, because I feel like I walk right into psychological hell. I go into the store, I buy my fruit, I haul my ass out of there. I can't go into stores. It's difficult.
That because of sensitivities, you're getting sensitive to other people's energy levels and.
Yeah, you read people really fast, and then it registers in your body. At some point, you're going, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm going to go. And it's not even a thinking process. You just go, I got to go.
Yeah,
I feel like all of a sudden all these tigers are chasing me through the jungle. I'm going the other way.
Yeah, I feel you, bro. I feel you definitely. Yeah, and laughing is so key. I think that that's something that I need to develop. I've always been keen to, because I've took my life so seriously for the longest time. And actually, most important thing for me healing, not even urine therapy, is actually just to laugh more, because I'm so serious and sad. And so yeah, that's a brilliant last message.
And one of the best things that writing a urine therapy book did for me was it brought out my comedian. I can tell pee jokes. I wrote and performed a pee drinking song.
Yeah.
And I get to help the mind shift out of serious gear and understanding a topic that's controversial and taboo, but actually to learn to enjoy it by laughing with it. So you can enjoy telling other people and help them through their serious part of it.
Yeah, that's powerful. And I really like the jokes in it too. By the way, where can people find your book and all your channel networks? So you're on YouTube, let us know your Facebook and how people can follow you.
Okay, Brother Sage is a Facebook page. Brother Sage is a YouTube channel. BrotherSage.com is my website, which shows all my projects and work and services. You can go to Amazon and find my book. I'm also offering people an opportunity to get a signed copy of the book if they live in the United States or Canada. I also have a digital full color copy that I can instantly send on email. And one of my technicians is almost completed turning it into an audio book, which I suggest for you.
Nice. That's really powerful. How is that done quickly? Audible? Is it Audible or something they're doing that?
It sounds a little bit like a robot woman.
Okay.
But it's close enough, and they convert text into audio files.
Yes.
And then he has to put them all in one file so you can send it all at once without having people, because I've got 15 chapters in the book. But it's for all the people who don't want to read a book, people who learn through different ways of taking information in the mind, or people are blind.
This is so true, Brother Sage. I think that's a key avenue, actually. Thanks for doing that for the community. I really mean that, because I've also been thinking, it's been on my mind. People have been telling me, and I need to get to doing putting my voice. I'm going to try out with my voice, because people seem to resonate, help with the branding, I guess, and to get the message out there. But I mean, even if you do it with robot voice and you're just getting people are hearing it, that's really powerful. So yeah, you've got YouTube, you've got Facebook. Are you on Instagram?
I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter.
Twitter as well.
I'm on Skype.
All right.
People can send money by Zelle or PayPal. Oh, I'd also recommend that you get your books in Spanish and other languages, because if you caught what's going on with Monica Shute, she's spending a lot of time posting on the Euroterapia, the Hispanic communities around the world that are doing urine therapy.
It's quite
so
big,
that's a whole nother market you're missing out on.
Yeah, that's quite big. I noticed that too. That's been, that's a really good idea. Thank you for doing that. Yeah, if we could get our books, because I feel like mine and yours are the two that people keep telling me are the ones that everyone's reading. God bless us.
Yes.
And because now you've got another book. By the way, Brother Sage, I've done my sequel. I've got my third one next year. But also I've got plans myself now to write many more, because I know there's demand and because I'm obsessed with it. So I think me and you are really going to, in the nicest way possible, keep that message going. And do you know what I hope? I'm going to send this message out to people watching. I don't even want it to be just about us two. I wanted this from the beginning. I want other people to start stepping up to play and thinking, I can write my own book on aged urine, because there's plenty of people out there that know just as much as us and got different angles of it to come in. So that's the challenge people watching here. Please do write your own book. It's not hard. I mean, Brother, do you want to talk really quickly about the process of writing a book? Because actually people always want to write a book and never get it done. So can you give someone that wants to write a book that's watching this, I know they do, give them advice on how to get a book out there? How do you do it? How did you do it?
Okay, first of all, the subject matter has to pop in your head. And what happened to me is I became pregnant as a book father. And at some point, you step out of the picture and the transmission comes, and you better get near a piece of paper, a laptop. It was just streaming through me. And wherever I was throughout the day, I had to stop and go inside, go to the library, get near a computer, because it kept coming through me. And what I noticed is that everything in my life kind of dissolves. I'm obsessed, I'm neurotic. It's like the material comes. And then you go back and you reread it, and you reread it, and you reread it, and you edit it, and you get a publisher, and you get it posted and published, and it's a book. But it's the process of being extremely committed to the book. Your distractions have to go away. You have to be ultimately focused on the book.
I like that.
And there's a book in every one of us. You have to just like stop thinking you're not a writer and start entertaining the possibility, well, maybe you are a writer, and just get out of your way and watch your book come magically to you.
Yeah, I like that. I like that angle. I'll give people a different angle and say that
Sure.
I suffered from perfectionism, and I know everyone watching this always does, and that's a problem. So even when I was writing the book, I had moments where I was like, oh, this is not perfect. But I pushed through perfectionism and said, hey, this is never going to be a perfect book, but this is Harry at this moment in time, and I'm going to get it, ship it out and get it done imperfectly because I know it's going to help people. And I know there's loads of people going, oh, but it's not perfect. And that's what stops like 99% of people getting it done. So just don't worry about it. Just get it done. Don't judge yourself for it, because I know there's people that need your message right now. Get it done.
Yes. And I'm so glad. I'm so glad you said that, because I'm up to 100 pages in the manual right now.
Cool.
And I could already see the finish line. However, my judgmental or critical self is going, wait a minute, there's new material. Oh my God, Harry discovered a new protocol.
Yeah,
I know,
I feel it.
Over here. And I'm wanting to put it in, but I'm already thinking ahead. There's revision, step 2, step 3, step 4, but get out what you can while you can, but get it as close to perfect without getting anal about it.
Yeah. Oh, I love that message. Thank you. Can I say thank you so much, Brother Sage, for joining us today. You are a man full of wisdom. If you're happy for it, I'd love to have you on. Do another one in a couple of months, because me and you, we're just brilliant together. We got so much work to do, and we got so much more. I know there's so much more we could have tapped into today. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching, everyone. And this was Let's Go Harry with Brother Sage. Thank you.